Coming up next on Dr. Oz, the disease that almost killed superstar Avril Lavigne. Dr. Oz on the health crisis she's battled for months. Plus, celebrity health news they don't want you to hear. Our panel of experts have the inside scoop. And he lost a whopping 237 pounds.
It's like a dream come true.
Dr. Oz breaks down how he did it, and you can too. Coming up next on Dr. Oz.
Great show today. Let me start with a little story. So I was in Los Angeles about a month ago, and I was approached with a surprising request. I was asked to take a bite out of Lyme. This is what ended up happening to me. But it turns out this request is all about Lyme disease. And everyone's talking about this now because Lyme disease is actually on the rise in a big way. The CDC has even increased their estimate of annual cases tenfold, 10 times more cases than we used to think were happening. And now musician Avril Lavigne is opening up in People magazine about her struggle with the disease. Here with the details is senior editor of People magazine, Mary Margaret. How are you, Mary?
Nice to meet you.
So what happened, Avril?
Avril, she disappeared. She's someone who fans have always been really in tune with her life, and they got really nervous. They wondered where she was. Is she in rehab? Is her marriage on the rocks? But the truth was she was incredibly sick, and she didn't know what she had, and it took a really long time, torturous months, for her to finally realize that she had Lyme disease.
Let me quote Avril, because what she said, I think, is what a lot of folks with Lyme disease say. She said it felt like having all of your life sucked out of you. It's a pretty dramatic statement. I didn't even know she was sick. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, last year, pretty much a year from today, she woke up feeling completely drenched in her own sweat. She remembers not even being able to brush her teeth since she couldn't stand up. And she took NyQuil, DayQuil, thought she had the flu. She was on tour, she thought she was overworked. But she just got worse and worse. And she was in and out of emergency rooms, talked to countless specialists, countless doctors, and it took pretty much the rest of the year to figure out what she had.
That's a pretty typical story, this sort of longing for help, but you're not quite finding it.
Right.
So how's she doing now?
She's doing great. You know, the amazing thing about Avril is, you know, she's actually really grateful about the experience. She says that at the end of this, she'll actually be healthier than she was before, because now she's doing everything we all should be doing. She's eating healthy, she's exercising. So she thinks this was actually a big wake-up call that she's, again, really happy she's gone through and she's at the end at.
So Yolanda Foster, Housewives of Beverly Hills, someone I know, and she's actually spoken a little bit about this illness, the Lyme disease she's suffering from. I understand she's friends with Avril. Have they been connecting?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that Avril, you know, anyone who's gone through this experience knows, it really helps to have resources. And Yolanda has said that she reached out to Avril, kind of helped guide her, you know, in terms of what to expect. And it's been a big help.
Yeah. So I'm connected with the Foster family in preparation for today's show. And Yolanda, as Avril's reflected and so many others, doesn't really know how this happened. She's not even clear on when it started, as much as others have been, but she's written a fantastic blog on the experience surrounding Lyme disease, and you can find it on droz.com. Let me explain to everyone why this is so important to catch early and why sometimes we miss it. So it starts, as you all know, with a tick bite, right? That's why it's called Lyme disease, because it started in Lyme, Connecticut. And these ticks, which are becoming more prominently available, they attach to you, and they got to be there for about 36 hours. Within that time period, they infect you. Then anywhere from 3 to 30 days later, which is the problem because you don't know when it happens sometimes, you get this sort of rash. Please look at this rash carefully. See how it looks like a bullseye? Get the center area and then a little ring around it. Not always perfect like this, but that bullseye rash will often appear. And if you notice it, it's a huge clue to us. You may also, however, get fatigue, fevers and chills like Avril said she had, aches, but you don't have to have those. Then weeks to months later, very unpredictably, you get a series of more serious signs. They can include heart palpitations, you can get severe headaches, arthritis. Frankly, I could fill this whole screen and 10 more like it with possible symptoms, which is why it's so confusing. And here's the catch. When diagnosed, doctors use an antibiotic. It helps a lot of folks, but it doesn't work for a lot of other people, which leaves frustrated individuals. To help us explain this, I've asked infectious disease specialist Dr. Alexander Ventelican to join us. So Yolanda sent me a note. It was a note that expressed a lot of hurt, that people were so skeptical. Not just the press, but actually her friends were skeptical of her diagnosis. Again, something I've heard from so many of our audience. Why is it so darn hard to diagnose Lyme disease?
Well, first of all, you may not think of it. I mean, as you said, it does all kinds of things to people, and so it looks like other diseases. And of course, in lots of parts of the US, there isn't any Lyme disease, so doctors don't think of it. They're looking for other things. Even if they do look for it, we've got blood tests and we've got scans. Now, they might miss, depending on when you start to do the test, they might miss up to 30% of patients. Now, that's a huge number. That's thousands of misdiagnoses. So we don't have good tests, and we often don't think of it.
When you talk about treatment, it's equally frustrating. Yolanda says she searched high and low for cures. She traveled the whole world, frankly, looking for stuff. She does not remember the last time she felt normal.
Yeah.
So why is it so difficult to treat if we know what's causing it?
Well, I think, first of all, the antibiotics don't always work. They don't actually clear the bacteria. But even when they seem to have worked and we can't find, the tests are no longer positive, and this is controversial, there may well be still Lyme-causing bacteria hiding in your body. They're difficult to find, they avoid the antibiotics. And so you do get very long-term problems in lots of patients. And I think the medical community, because it's a confusing picture, because we don't have enough research on this, we're kind of reluctant very often to admit we don't know what to do. And so part of the barriers to treatment are just doctors don't want to say, look, I don't know what to do. They're not very open-minded about it.
So you're sitting at home right now watching the show. What should you do to avoid getting Lyme disease? It's going to start becoming a big problem this year again.
Absolutely. First of all, you want to not be bitten by a tick. So trousers tucked into socks, covered in insect repellent. The insect repellent
Doesn't look so hot. I know it looks a little nerdy, but
you
it
could
does
probably
work.
carry it off.
Yes.
I don't manage,
That's right.
But absolutely. Now, if that's your back garden, that's not so easy to do. Yeah. If you have been bitten by a tick and you're looking for a small thing, right? We think of ticks as the size of peas once they've bitten a dog and they're full of blood. They're the size of a freckle, I mean, the size of a head of a pin. They're very small. You want to get a pair of tweezers and gently pull it straight out. Yeah. The quicker you can get the tick out, the less likely you are to get it. But if you think you have Lyme, it's easy to miss a tick bite, it's easy to miss all those things. If you think you have it and the tests are negative, it is worth pursuing specialist care. There are doctors who are more open-minded about this, and there are doctors who are more expert in treating it.
So earlier in the show, I showed you a picture where I literally took a bite out of Lyme. And this disease is very complex, it's a big problem. People who suffer from it are frustrated and they feel misunderstood. So my goal today is to spread the word that Lyme disease is a big deal. It is real, even though if you don't have some of the classic signs sometimes. So I've spoken to women all around the country, but there are a few that really caught my attention. These women actually got together, they started a grassroots challenge. They all have Lyme disease. And here's the challenge. I want you all to do it with me. You take a bite out of Lyme. Yes, it's not going to be an enticing experience, but you'll be able to reflect something interesting to your friends when you do it. You're going to post a picture or the video on social media with the hashtag Lyme Disease Challenge and caption it with a fact about Lyme disease. I'm going to put a bunch of these facts on DrOz.com. Pick any of the ones you heard today on the show or that you read on the website and put it out there. Now, Yolanda has already done this. Here's her picture. From her hospital bed, she did this to get the word out. She looks very good there with the Lyme in her mouth. We'll see how we all look here, because guess what, audience? We're all doing this together. You all have limes. That's what those limes are for. You're not getting away with this, Mary. Here you go.
Thank you.
Alex, there you go. There, just one. Yes, just one. There's no tequila, by the way. I know you're all wondering. All right, we're going to have everyone do it together. You ready? Are you brave?
Ready.
That lipstick might get on your lime.
It'll be okay.
You dressed up for the occasion. You ready? So for a good cause. Again, everyone at home, you're going to do this with me. You don't have to do it right now. When you have a moment. You ready? Mary? Dr. Ventolican? Okay, let's go. Take a bite out of lime.
It's loyal. Loyal to the camera. Loyal.
We'll be right back, everybody.
Coming up next, we're getting the inside scoop, the biggest health headlines from a panel of top celebrity experts, from fat shaming and celebrity rehabs to the fertility issues of the rich and famous. Hollywood gets diagnosed. Coming up next. Dr. Oz and the Dr. Oz Show, Emmy nominated on an all-new Oz. Bust financial stress by building a healthy bank account.
I want to change the way people think about money.
That's coming up tomorrow.
Kelly Clarkson is fighting back after getting fat shamed again, and Kim Kardashian is having trouble getting pregnant again. These are just some of Hollywood's biggest health headlines, and today we're getting the inside scoop from a panel of top celebrity experts. Brian Balthazar is joining us. He's an entertainment journalist and editor at popgoestheweek.com. Caitlin Becker is the host of HuffPo Live, and E! News correspondent Alicia Quarles is joining us. Let me start off with Kim Kardashian. She wants another baby, and she's being very open about her attempts to conceive. Alicia, what is she saying?
Well, on the latest episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, she revealed that her placenta grew onto her uterus when she gave birth to her daughter, North. So doctors are saying basically she'd have to have surgery to remove this, because if she did have another child, they'd have to remove her uterus immediately, and she could bleed to death. So you tell me more. You're the doctor. So she apparently had the surgery, and we're going to find out if it was successful, and also it will help her fertility issues.
So, I did gynecology in med school and residency, but I wanted to bring a real expert in. Gynecologist Dr. Tara Ullman is joining us to explain. So, Dr. Ullman, what do you think happened?
It sounds like after the birth of her daughter, the placenta was retained, so her obstetrician had to reach in and get it and use an instrument to get it. Sometimes when you do that, that can cause scarring inside the uterine cavity.
I think this is so brave that she's talking about this, especially with what we envision Kim Kardashian's life to be. It seems pretty great, if you ask me, but she's a real person with real problems. On the other hand, she was a little TMI about how often her and Kanye are having sex to try to have another baby. When she was talking about that on the show, I was just like, oh, okay, TMI, didn't need to know that. But in regards to her medical issues, this is just a really brave thing to talk about. Pregnancy is not always pretty. It's not always perfect. It isn't always easy. And this is great that she's just going out there and saying, this is what's happening. I want to have another baby, and I'm willing to, do what it takes to get my body on, on the right page.
A lot of moms have actually had retained placentas. I always thought it was a fairly innocuous process. Obviously, it's painful when they have to go and clean it out. But Dr. Ullman, how serious is this really? I mean, can it truly affect a pregnancy?
Well, if they have to instrument the uterus in order to remove the placenta, it can cause scarring, as I said. So in a future pregnancy, when the placenta implants, if it implants on that scar, it can cause problems with bleeding and hemorrhaging. And in the worst case scenario, she would require a hysterectomy. But that is such a rare event. I think Kim and Kanye should just practice getting pregnant right now, and not 500 times a day.
Yeah.
Is that what she said, 500 times?
500 times a day, but they're a hot couple, so why not?
That's ambitious.
True.
Dr. Ullman, thank you very much. So I want to talk about a dermatologist to the stars. He happens to be a friend of our show as well. Dr. Frederick Brandt unfortunately committed suicide this week. So, Alicia, what do we know about this terrible, tragic case?
Well, he was known, as you know, as the Baron of Botox. 65 years old, killed himself Sunday in Coconut Grove, Florida, in his home. It is tragic because if you know him, as you did, this man, he was full of life and love. And he was revolutionary in his field. In the 80s, he was using drugs that were treating AIDS patients when their faces were being hollowed out. He used them as fillers. And he would try a step out on himself before he tried it out on other people. And, he just had a really big heart.
If I can, I'm going to read a statement from the publicist that I do want to talk about this. So it revolves a little bit about a show. The show is called The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. I don't know how many of you have seen this. Actually, before I even explain it, can one of you just walk us through what the show is?
Well, it's the story of this young woman who, in this particular scene, Martin Short plays a cosmetic surgeon who some are saying was kind of a satire of Dr. Brandt. And so it's a very pulled back face, and he could barely speak with his mouth. And so some people are saying that he actually took this very personally and that it hurt him very deeply. And that's what the publicist has responded to, saying that the show really did hurt his feelings.
So
She also said, though, he had suffered from depression for many, many years. So I know that, obviously, maybe there's a breaking point, but I don't think the show was the breaking point. I know.
Well, let me just read her statement, because I want to let them answer, because this is obviously it's a big accusation if it's true. So the statement from the publicist was that the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt show definitely deeply hurt him. He was being made fun of because of the way he looks. But she went on to say that the show was not the reason for his depression, and it was not the reason he would take his own life. Tina Fey and Martin Short are both in this Netflix show. They're known to be extremely kind people. I know them both. I think that's a correct attribution. They make people laugh a lot. Where's the line here between trying to be funny and bullying?
Well, I think, truthfully, it's when something as tragic as this happens, you always want to know why, what made it happen. And I don't actually think it's fair to point a finger at Martin Short, because truthfully, when you become a celebrity, as Dr. Brandt was in his own right, a celebrity in his field, sometimes you open yourself up to kind of satire, parodies, and it's all in how you approach that. And truthfully, I don't think anyone takes their life for just one reason. And so, this may have been something that upset him, but I think it's unfair to say one thing caused it.
This was a great brilliant man. This one parody and show isn't enough to bring down someone who was as brilliant as this man was. That being said, it is easy to sit here and say when you are a certain level of celebrity, you need to have a thick skin. But until it happens to you, you don't know how thick your skin is, and you don't know what you're willing to take, and what could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. So we really can't speculate what that is. But when it happens to you, it's
left a legacy of love and support, though. Stars are pouring out, and not just stars, everyday people that knew him and loved him and worked with him. So he left a great legacy.
The irony for me, here's a man who dedicated his life to helping people improve their looks, and yet, from what I can tell, he's actually more insecure about his own looks than I appreciated everyone he was on this show. Let me transition to singer Kelly Clarkson. You all heard about this big blow up over the weekend. She got an apology from a Fox News host for fat shaming. So Alicia, give us the details.
So the Fox News host Chris Wallace went on the Mike Gallagher radio show. Mike starts talking about Kelly's weight. At first, Chris kind of backed away from it and said she's a great singer, and then he said she needs to lay off the pizza. And that's when everybody...
Deep dish pizza.
People started flooding in calls, tweets, Instagram saying, how dare you, how could you? This is a woman that had a child, a year ago. And also, it's not the first time she's been fat shamed. A British TV host did it to Kelly. Kelly spoke up on Ellen DeGeneres then saying, you know what, it's not about my weight per se, it's about me being happy. And I've had to deal with this for 13 years, since I was on Idol, since I was the bigger one. Yeah. So Kelly is, she's a wonderful person. I've interviewed her before, not the person to go after.
Caitlin, what gives? How does a newsman make a mistake like this?
I don't know. It's when you blur the lines between what should be an impartial journalist reporting the facts of the day and the news of the day, and you start trying to make that person a celebrity in their own right. He was on the show being interviewed. Why would we even ask him about Kelly Clarkson's weight? And you open up that floodgate and that door, and he walks through it and says something as disgusting as she should lay off the deep dish pizza. He doesn't know what she eats. He doesn't know if she's healthy. He should back off and go back to his job.
He actually issued a statement saying, he apologizes and he should have stuck to her talent. Gallagher issued a statement also calling himself tubby, but I agree with you. Stick to the facts and worry about your job.
Yeah, and I don't see Chris Wallace entering any swimsuit competitions, truthfully. The truth is, we should be judging Kelly Clarkson on her weight no more than we're judging Chris Wallace on his weight. Yeah. She's a singer and he's a journalist, and it shouldn't even be an issue, really. So,
There's a big story out there. A lot of women are gasping as they hear about Mad Men's John Hamm, who went into rehab, which I personally think is a very brave thing to do. Alicia, what's the backstory on this?
John went to rehab for 30 days. Of course, it's making a lot of news, not just because it's John Hamm, but also this is right during the premiere of the last season of Mad Men. He came out and he said, look, I went to rehab to treat alcoholism. I thank you for the support of my family, my friends. And he said, sometimes life gets in the way and it gets rough. He goes, but still, please respect our privacy.
So, why are folks always shocked when celebrities need to go into rehab?
Well, I think there are some celebrities where we aren't, where we see this path happening. But in this case, I think we're surprised because we really didn't see this coming. And then there's the inevitable comparison between him and his character. Don Draper on Mad Men was kind of a booze-swilling guy.
Always has a drink in his hand, right?
I think that's part of it. Again, one of those cases where you really don't know what causes something. He's been open about struggling with depression in his past. He lost his mother when he was young, and then he lost his father suddenly in his 20s, and he said he's had his demons with regard to that. But it's hard to say what causes this kind of thing, but he's been very discreet about it, and I don't think he really would have even said anything if it hadn't been kind of outed without him really knowing it was going to happen. I think it just kind of happened.
Pressure's on if you're a celebrity. Yeah. Making the decision to get help if you suffer from substance abuse for anyone is a massive decision, to know what your family and your friends are going to think or say. To put a celebrity on top of that, someone who is idolized by so many fans, pressure's really on, and he made a really, really major choice. And I think it's great that he, it got out there however it got out there, but it was great that he acknowledged it. Here's what's happening. Please respect our privacy, and I think that's what we should do.
And he's someone that you root for. I agree.
Yeah. I love having you guys on. Thank you very much. Nice job. I'll be right back.
Next, a Dr. Oz superfan who watched the show and lost 237 pounds. What he did to lose it, and you can do it too. Now he's helping thousands reach their health goal. The encouraging weight loss story that will shed inspiration. Coming up next.
Today, it's the ultimate pay it forward. A man who used our show to transform his health has become one of the most inspiring stories I've ever seen. Now he's helping thousands reach their own health goals.
When Barry's father passed away, he was just totally devastated. And he found himself turning to food to ease the pain a little bit. Barry's eating had gotten so out of control that he reached an all-time high of 450 pounds.
It was really hard watching my dad suffer. Just lay down in bed all day, eat, and not exercise.
I was very, very worried about him. He had asthma, high blood pressure, an enlarged heart. It got so bad that I had to push him in a wheelchair. My biggest fear was that he wasn't going to be around for his daughters and me. But all that changed when Barry saw the Dr. Oz show. He was inspired by all these amazing weight loss success stories.
Over 300 pounds lighter.
He realized he could be a success story too.
What's the message you want to share to all the viewers at home?
You know, you just need to recognize that you're worthy and just make that one choice.
I'm proud to say that Barry has lost 237 pounds today. I think that was the start of a huge following on Facebook. They are inspired by how he was able to lose such a huge amount of weight in like 15 months.
I've been inspired by Barry from following him on Facebook. I have lost 35 pounds, and he also inspires me to get to the gym more often.
Barry doesn't only inspire me to be healthy, but Barry inspires me to be a good human being.
Barry told me that it would mean the world to him if he could walk out on the stage and meet Dr. Oz in person, to walk out on the stage and tell the world that it's never too late to transform your life.
Barry, it's time for you to have the moment you've always dreamed of. You all ready, everybody? Yeah! Barry, come on out! Oh, God. You did it! You did it!
Oh, so excited to be here. Who would ever think just a year and a little bit, I'm here meeting you. It's like a dream come true.
So for all the people at home right now who feel the way you did when you were 450 pounds, what's your message?
I just would like to tell everyone across the country, it's possible. You don't have to get a gash or bypass or a lap in. You can do it all naturally. It's possible.
You gonna show them how to do it?
Sure.
Come on over here. You're gonna go through the steps that Barry took in his own walk. And again, the key goal is they're simple and easy to do. Item number one, first thing you did was you cut out 3 products that too many of us take advantage of. Diet food, fast food, and the salt stuff. Why'd you start here?
I just knew I had to eliminate it to get to my goal to, you know.
Did this work for you, the diet soda?
No, it never worked for me, no. Now I drink a lot of water, you know, over a gallon a day, and it's just incredible.
Well, come over here, let's talk about what you are doing. So water's one thing, but this is a typical day of food, you've told me. And just very quickly, take us through it. Straightforward, simple, and quite a bit of it, by the way.
All right, so I start my day with a bowl of oatmeal. I don't add anything to it, just plain oatmeal. I enjoy it. And then, you know, a few hours later, I would go to like a hard-boiled egg.
Protein.
Yes.
What's this?
And then a special whey protein drink that I really enjoyed.
It's just whey protein and water? That's it?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Lots of veggies.
Yep.
This is a big dinner.
Yep. And you can have a lot. I mean, you know, vegetables are great for you. Just learn to enjoy your food. Eat it in smaller bites. You know, you don't have to consume it all at one time.
Barry, why did you just start doing this now?
Well, I knew I was turning 49 years old, okay? And my daughter, you know, she's a nutritionist, and apparently watching you and your shows just totally blew me away. You've inspired me for a long time, especially Transformation Nation. And I knew I wanted to be here to help other people. I want to give people my South Florida inspiration. I'll reach out to just anyone in a Facebook post. I love to help people.
Let's talk about this. Come on over here.
Yes.
So Barry's not just doing it for himself, he's paying it forward.
Exactly.
He's helping thousands of people get healthy. You've got your own Facebook page.
Sure.
Here it is up here, everyone can
Yes.
look at it. So you've got followers all over the place. So what we did was ask some of your followers, quite a bit of them, by the way, happen to be in New York,
yes,
if they would come and meet with you. Come on out, guys, surprise them. Now because Cassandra lost 320 pounds by juicing. Take a look.
I was a girl that really never had a weight problem, but that all changed once I had my second child. I gained 100 pounds. I got really depressed, and the more depressed I got, the more food I began to eat. My weight was spiraling out of control, and at my worst, I ballooned to 495 pounds. It scared me. It really was a matter of life or death. My friends encouraged me to watch the Dr. Oz show.
America is in the midst of a brand new juicing craze.
This show came on about juicing, and I felt like maybe this is what I need to help get my body back on track. And I bought a juicer, I got the veggies, got the fruit, and I started juicing immediately the next day. In the first 30 days, I lost 30 pounds. A lot of people were saying, it's just water weight, but I said, you know, I'm gonna give it another 30 days. The next 30 days, I lost an additional 30 pounds. I never expected to get the results that I got, and I'm proud to say that through juicing, healthy eating, and exercise, I've lost 300 plus pounds. My lifestyle now is juicing at least 3 times a week. Since the weight loss, I've launched my own Facebook page. I have over 1,000 followers. My goal now is to spread the word to people that you don't need any expensive meal plans, you don't need any surgeries. All you need to do is eat right. We're all in it together to get healthy with Dr. Oz.
What's your most inspiring weight loss success story?
My mother lost 110 pounds after she had a heart scare. She made a firm decision that she was going to live her happiest and healthiest life possible, and she did. I'm so proud of her.
Share your story on Facebook.com/Dr. Oz. Coming up next, it's everyone's dream to strike it rich. But do you have the $1 million idea? Shark Tank's Lori Grenier is here, regarded as the most prolific woman inventor of our time. She shares her inside secrets to great inventions. Coming up next. Dr. Oz and the Dr. Oz Show, Emmy nominated on an all-new Oz. Bust financial stress by building a healthy bank account.
I want to change the way people think about money.
That's coming up tomorrow.
She's one of the most successful inventors from the hit show Shark Tank. And after creating more than 400 different inventions, she says everyone watching right now can strike it rich with their next $1 million idea. Today, she's here to reveal one of her favorite health products. Please welcome Shark Tank's Lori Grenier. Lori, how are you? Wonderful having you back.
Great to be here.
So a lot of folks don't know this, but Lori actually reigns over a multi-million-dollar empire, and it all started with a jewelry organizer. I mean, how did you connect the two of those things together? An empire with one idea like that?
I came up with my earring organizer idea, and I figured if I have this problem, other people have this problem. And so I did my own little market research, found out women liked it. I had to figure out how to make it, manufacture it, market, package it, everything. And then once I did that and it was successful, you get the fever, right? Yes, and so I just kept making product and trying to help people's problems and make people's lives easier.
Why is it so prevalent now to have women out there creating great new ideas?
Well, I think women are amazing multitaskers. I think women can do anything. I think the internet makes it easier for women to do things now, to be home and work from their home. Yeah. And you know, women, they say women can bring home the bacon, the turkey bacon, and fry it up in the pan. And I think that's true. I think that women are strong and creative. And
so I have one personal question. So, who is the most cold-hearted shark of them all?
Well,
be honest.
Kevin.
Kevin is.
You know, I like Kevin. I have to say, I like Kevin. He is, look, on Shark Tank, what you see is what you get. We are who we are. And Kevin's Kevin, but he can also be funny and entertaining. But nobody's in our ears telling us what to say or what to do. We are who we are.
All right, so Lori's invested in over 30 products on the show, but she brought one of her favorites in today, one that speaks to me as well. A mother-son team actually pitched their health invention to alleviate constipation. Yes, I'm talking about the coveted Squatty Potty. It looks like this, the Squatty Potty. To all the sharks, and they all heard this, but Lori took a really big bite. Take a look.
They say that the necessity is the mother of all invention, and for a lot of years his mother was constipated. The gastroenterologist told me that I should always eliminate with my knees above my waist.
Crazy as it sounds, that was the aha moment that led to Judy and Bobby Edwards' big idea.
You've been doing something wrong your whole life and you don't even know it. And it's pooping. The Western toilet is an ergonomic nightmare. It requires we sit, when anatomically we should be squatting.
Their solution, a clever invention named the Squatty Potty, a footstool that corrects your pooping posture. Their company mission statement, changing the way we poop, one stool at a time. Armed with scientific research to back up their claims, the Edwards took their invention to ABC's Shark Tank, looking for feedback and an investor.
Well, I feel that the $350,000 for 10% is right.
Actually, we're gonna take Lori's offer.
There you go. Once Lori kicked in a $350,000 investment, the team was on their way.
I think within the first 48 hours we hit $1 million in sales.
Since 2011, we've sold over 750,000 Squatty Potties.
Judy and Bobby are here. So, Judy, when did you realize that you were sitting, actually, I should say squatting on the next big idea?
Well, in 2010, after me using my little makeshift Squatty Potty, I knew it worked, and I decided I wanted to share that with my friends and family. So everyone got a Squatty Potty for Christmas in 2010.
Hey, look, Mom.
That's not quite the response I had. It was like, oh, Mom, I can't believe this. They rolled their eyes. They thought I was crazy. So anyway, after about 2 weeks, I started getting phone calls and text messages, and
Were people taking pictures like this?
everyone was loving it.
Feels good, actually.
Yeah, it was making a big difference in their lives, and so they started sharing that with their friends, and we started getting more and more requests for more Squatty Potties, and so that's when I really realized that we had a product that we really needed to bring to market, even though it was a hard subject to talk about.
It is sometimes. I've learned that firsthand. Bobby, what was the most surprising part about the whole launch?
That a lot of people have problems with pooping.
Yes.
And,
Well said.
and for a lot of people, it's a mechanical issue, and they're doing it wrong. And our product has really been received extremely well. Like I said, within the first 48 hours after Shark Tank, we sold $1 million in Squatty Potties. 5 million in, yeah.
It's a lot of pooping. Lori, what convinced you that it was a wise investment?
Well, I knew that from traveling, a lot of people do that, and I knew that it was right, and I knew that a lot of people do have trouble pooping, and they just would love the product. I just knew it would be a hero.
Give everyone at home who has an idea, like your jewelry or organizer or the Squatty Potty, some insights. How do they take that idea and do what you've done with your ideas?
Well, I think what you should do is definitely do some market research. You know, make sure that people want your product. Don't just go ask grandma, you know, because grandma's going to say, yes, honey, I love it. Instead, you have to really go out, pound the pavement, ask everyday people, and if you find out that they're interested, then take the next step.
Are you guys willing to autograph my potty here?
Oh, we'd love that.
Autograph Squatty Potty. Thank you guys very much. You can catch Shark Tank Spotties at 9 p.m. on ABC.
Coming up next, have you ever wished that you had your doctor on speed dial? Whether you've cut yourself or hurt yourself falling down in the middle of the night, you don't have to wonder what to do anymore. The most common injury scenarios answered by Dr. Oz. Coming up next.
We are bringing healthy back this season and want you to bring it too. Grab your prescription pad for fun and sign up for free tickets today. You can go to droz.com/tickets and sign up. Did I get it right? Have you ever gotten hurt or gotten sick in the middle of the night and wondered, what am I going to do now? Well, today, for all the times you wish you had your doctor on speed dial, I'm going to help out. Delia is joining me. So what have you wished for help on if you didn't have a doctor at your fingertips?
Well, I have 2 kids, and so it never fails. Someone's sick in the middle of the night, 2 a.m., after hours, and to be able to have a doctor on call to ask, what do I do, would be great.
What do you do now when that happens?
Well, mommy's on call.
Mommy's on
Yeah.
call. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you through a scenario. This is one of
Okay.
the most common scenarios that accounts for over 200,000 hospitals a visit. Now, pay attention. It's feeling like a stir-fry kind of night. You grab the peppers and the onion.
you're picturing your delicious finished vegetables when, all of a sudden, searing pain. You cut yourself. Are you okay?
Delia, has this ever happened to you, the dreaded cut?
It has. I've been married for 16 years, and our second year, our second Thanksgiving, I wanted to do Thanksgiving.
Sure.
And I wanted to do it all. So the night before, I was cutting and cutting away, and I had a giant serrated knife that found its way right through my finger.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Do you ever get the skin falling into the dressings? Ever happened to you?
That didn't happen, but please don't say that.
So how long before you called the doctor to get help?
I didn't.
You didn't?
I didn't. It just hurt so badly, and I just wanted to lie down on the floor, which is exactly what I did.
All right. So you saw that little scenario. If you have a cut like that, normally you talk to a doctor, and they could probably give you pretty quick advice. So I'm going to give you my advice.
Okay.
First off, if it's gushing, obviously the blood's hitting the ceiling, or if you cut through the skin, this is what we actually look for. Obviously, you go to the bone, that's a problem, but the muscle to fat. If you see any fat beneath the skin, so it's spreading a little bit, then you may want to go to the ER because we can often put a stitch in that. But we only have a couple hours to put the stitch in, so you got to move quickly. Also, apply pressure, right, with clean cloths or dressing, whatever you have, until the bleeding stops. Don't keep looking. Keep pressure on there. Clean it out with water. Use soap, but not in the wound. You want to put it around the wound. And finally, you want to put in one of those antibiotic ointments. They're fine to use. All right?
All right.
Hope that's helpful to you.
It is. It would have been more helpful then.
All right. Here's the next most common scenario.
You're rushing around your kids' rooms and your room, feeding out hamper after hamper. Finally, that basket is full. You are face deep in laundry. You're heading downstairs to the washing machine. You take a step. You take another step. All of a sudden, you slip. Are you hurt?
Oh, the moaning continues. Mariana is here, so I heard you took a tumble. What happened?
Yes. It was about 5 years ago. It was Christmas Day, and I got out of the car, and I looked over. It was very slippery. My son started to fall. So I went to grab him, and then I fell.
Oh.
Yeah.
What'd you hurt?
Well, I was knocked out, so I don't even remember that part of it. But I came to, and my brother was trying to get me awake. And then they took me in the house, and I was bruised all down the side of my body. And
That's a big injury.
Yeah.
So if you had me on speed dial, here's what I would have told you. First off, if you have any of these following symptoms, lose consciousness, which one, severe headaches, vomiting, or confusion, you got to go see a doc. So I would have told you that to take care of any emergencies. But if you hadn't lost consciousness, it was just sore, then simple things, ibuprofen, any of those nonsteroidals or ice, and they'll work just fine just for symptom management. That way you wouldn't be panicked. You know, a lot of the stuff that I would tell you would just make you feel more comfortable so you wouldn't be so scared. So you wouldn't have to do anything. And there's, I think, fantastic news around this because you don't have to wonder what to do anymore. You can now consult with a doctor 24/7. Amwell, that's what it's called, is now part of AskMD on DrOz.com. And it gives you 24/7 access to a licensed doctor in your state. Now take a look at how it works. Go to DrOz.com and take a simple AskMD assessment. This is going to help your doctor that you're about to speak with prepare for your virtual consultation. Now, once you complete it, you'll be given the option to connect to a doctor. Then pick a doctor and then schedule the consultation immediately or for a later time. And once you're connected, you can ask any health question that you're worried about. Just like this, I'm now connecting with a doctor on Amwell. Her name is Dr. Laura Lee Yeldon. Hi, Dr. Yeldon. Let's say someone uses this tool because they've had vomiting for, let's say, 6 to 8 hours, but we're finally able to keep some food down. What would you recommend?
When I see patients on Amwell with symptoms like nausea and vomiting, I like to recommend hydration. Fluids like water, sports drinks, ginger ale, and coconut water are excellent ways to help replace your potassium. I would recommend small sips throughout the day, and advancing to small, bland meals is tolerated. It's best to keep an eye on yourself, and please reconnect with us at any time as needed.
I love that we can keep connected. Let me ask, how long would you wait on average for a virtual consultation?
In general, we're able to see most patients on Amwell in between 7 to 10 minutes.
Oh, that's fabulous. Thank you, Dr. Yeldon. Imagine that. In 7 to 10 minutes, you can talk to a doctor about whatever's worrying you, get peace of mind around that, or take care of the problem, either one. So today, a very special announcement, one I've been waiting months and working hard to accomplish. AskMD and Amwell are giving away 5,000 free visits for Dr. Oz show viewers. No charge at all. Just go to DrOz.com, complete the quick Ask MD assessment so we know what's going on with you. It'll make everything a little more easy. And you want to find that out anyway. And then you can be connected with an Amwell doctor who can give you face-to-face, real-time advice. Just go to droz.com now for all the details. I'll be right back.
Dr. Oz and the Dr. Oz Show. Emmy-nominated 6 seasons in a row on an all-new Oz. The key to making you rich from a top financial advisor.
I want to change the way people think about money.
Bust financial stress by building a healthy bank account. Plus, Dr. Oz shows you how to get expensive food at way cheaper prices.
Budget-boosting tips to stay healthy without breaking the bank.
All new Oz. That's coming up tomorrow.
I love cartoons that give me a good laugh, so I especially love this one because it features yours truly. Take a look. It's Dr. Oz in Oz. See, I'm all dressed up in my gown there. It says, Dorothy, you need more B12. And Tin Man, get your omega-3. Scarecrow, take vitamin D. And Lion, I try some scotch. So I am not totally opposed to liquid courage every once and again, but there are some healthier ways to boost your confidence. Studies show that people with great posture, everyone stand up tall now, the little string is pulling the back of your head up. People with great posture have more confidence than slouchers. So everyone right now at home, sit up straight, take a power pose, and feel it in your blood because it actually seems to help. Now it's time for In Case You Missed It. First, if you had your doctor on speed dial, what would you ask? A lot of people are curious about what to do when you cut your finger. So if I had the access to all of you, and if you had me on your speed dial, here's what I'd tell you. If the wound is gushing or the cut is so deep that you can see the underlying fat, it'll look sort of yellowish, or if you see the muscle or even bone, obviously you gotta go to the ER because you might need stitches. If not, and most of the time you won't, you should apply pressure with a clean cloth until the bleeding stops. And then clean the wound with water. Don't put a lot of crazy things in there, just plain old water, maybe a little soap around the wound, but don't put it in the wound, and then apply antibiotic ointment. Next, a lot of news out of Hollywood. They've been speaking out about Lyme disease because there's so much of it around this country now. And today we heard the stories of stars like Avril Lavigne and Yolanda Foster who have gone public with their struggles with the disease because it can be so difficult to diagnose. It's important to catch and treat Lyme early. That's why I'm trying to raise the awareness by, drum roll, taking a bite out of Lyme. Today, fans, this is the Lyme Disease Challenge. Oz Nation, I challenge all of you to take a bite out of the Lyme like I just did on today's show. Here's some footage of me braving the Lyme with all the audience members. Everyone was smiling. Here's the challenge, very simple. You take a bite out of the Lyme. You gotta do that. Tape yourself doing it, take a picture of yourself, then post that on social media with the hashtag Lyme Disease Challenge. Then caption it with a fact about Lyme disease. You can pick any one you want. We got a whole bunch of them on droz.com to help you out. And if you do this with me, we can make a difference. I'll see you next time. I'm going again. Are you ready?